Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today we're going to be talking about
Batman Begins.
Guy dresses up like a bat clearly has issues.
So on June 15th, 2005, Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins was released to much acclaim compared to the previous two movies before it, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. So we finally are getting into some really good, well-known Batman movies. And Matt, right off the top, what'd you think of Batman Begins?
Now, I love it. Back then, I think I was a little too young to really understand what was going on, and the first half of the movie is very slow. But now that I'm older, I understand what was going on, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, right off the top, I really enjoy Batman Begins too. It's actually my second favorite Batman movie behind Batman 1989, which is crazy. For a long time, The Dark Knight.
You like this better than The Dark Knight?
As the years have gone on, The Batman Begins has really climbed my list of Batman movies, and The Dark Knight has kind of dropped. And it's hard for me to say. I'll explain more in the Dark Knight video why. But as far as Batman Begins, I think all around it is a perfect Batman movie. We really get the full origin story of Batman with Ra's al Ghul. It is a great origin.
Razul, you want some spaghetti?
It's amazing, the story that they tell us, and doing it non-literally about how he's showing him training, how his childhood went, how he's coming back to Gotham after all these years, telling it all like that. I really just loved how this story is written and how it's just mainly about Batman. It's not the villain's focus. Yeah, we get Scarecrow, played brilliantly by Cillian Murphy, but this story is Christopher Nolan's story, love letter to Batman. That's what I feel like. And played great by Christian Bale. But
yes.
We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, big Nolan guy over here. I love the Nolan trilogy. I really do. I don't think it ended strong, but I really enjoy this movie. The Dark Knight, I think it's a little bit better. But hey, Batman Begins, excellent movie.
Yeah, well, we get some of our first introductions. I felt like one big thing was Gary Oldman's Lieutenant Gordon, actually Sergeant Gordon in here, but I felt like he took a back seat in the previous four movies. He was played well, but he's not a big part of this. He is what Batman needs. Without Lieutenant Gordon, we don't get Batman. That's his guy on the inside.
Nope.
And he's played great by Gary Oldman in this movie. And another great supporting actor is Katie Holmes, who I don't think gets enough love. I really feel like she got overshadowed by Maggie Gyllenhaal in the next movie.
Yeah, I don't like that they did the old switcheroo. I prefer her.
Yeah, I don't know if I prefer her, or I know you know this, but it's very jarring when they switch actors in the middle of the series.
I hate it. I absolutely cannot stand it. It ruins everything for me.
Yeah.
They did it in the Marvel movies.
They switched from what's-his-name to Don Shield.
I really enjoyed the casting. I really wish they didn't change the actress for Rachel.
Yeah, it's a shame. I really thought Katie Holmes did well. I understand that people prefer Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I don't know if it's a biased opinion, but they just felt like I personally enjoyed Katie Holmes more. Maybe it's because they switched actresses. They played the role very different, so it's very, it makes it even more jarring when they do the switch, is that they play the whole role so different from each other.
Yeah.
But also, for keen-eye viewers, there's a young Jack Gleason from Game of Thrones is in there, so keep an eye out for him as a child, and this is the little scared kid. You won't get that much.
Oh, on the balcony? And
yeah.
And he gives him the gadget?
Yeah. He was a cute kid. He would be a monster on Game of Thrones, though, so don't let those sweet eyes fool you. But, now, with the elephant in the room, Christian Bale. How do you think Christian Bale did as not just Bruce Wayne, but as Batman?
I love Christian Bale.
He's my second favorite.
So this is very, very hard for me, because one day Keaton, next day Bale. I don't know. I think both of them 10 out of 10. Both Batmans.
Christian Bale gets a lot of jokes about how he talks in the Batman voice, but I actually noticed like how like halfway through the movie, like I was thinking like it's not that.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yeah, I think he turns it up a little more in The Dark Knight because in here it actually was menacing. Like when he's like, "Where are you?" Here, and grabs him and scoops him up. I'm like, okay, that's kind of scary. And
or when he's talking to Gordon for the first time and he
got the stapler to the back of his neck.
Yeah, the stapler, and he's like, I'm only one guy. Yeah. Now we're two.
Like, it was a little bit more menacing, and then he's like, before you know, now he's got freaking lung cancer.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, so I think that this is his best performance as Batman, personally. Because, I mean, it's more of a Batman.
Well, Michael Keaton never masked his voice.
No.
Right? He never did anything.
A little bit, but not like, you know.
Really, yeah.
Not like this. He has a total...
But they thought about that. They said, well, I mean, we know this guy. We know his voice, you know, so... Well, it's you. Duh.
That's one thing that I didn't bring up in the Batman movie that bothered me, is that, like, nobody knew who Bruce Wayne was, the richest man in Gotham. They're like, she's like, Vicky Vale's looking for Bruce Wayne, at least in this universe.
Ra's al Ghul mentions it. He's like, the world's too small for somebody like Bruce Wayne to just disappear.
Yeah, it's weird that Tim Burton kind of just ignored the fame of Bruce Wayne, and they got that right here, which Christian Bale nailed, is playing both Bruce Wayne and Batman. And playing the Bruce Wayne to Alfred, like the nice guy we know actually does care about Gotham. And then the Bruce
Michael Caine. Right?
Yeah. And then the Bruce Wayne we get in the world is a playboy that nobody likes, and he's playing that up on purpose, which is perfect. Like that's how he really is Gotham's White Knight or Dark Knight, you know. But the city doesn't know. He's the hero we don't deserve. That city really doesn't deserve him. There's a lot of piece of shit.
Yeah, excellent movie overall. It's 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. I'm gonna probably go 9.5 out of 10. If Batman 1989 is a 10, this is just a slight half step down from that. And I love it. It starts a trilogy out great, and I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. To talk a little bit about the 4K release of the Nolan trilogy, specifically Batman Begins is obviously where we're going to begin this journey. So you got your basic packaging in this big 3-disc slipcover thing, whatever you want to call it. I like the packaging. I like how they have your Blu-ray and your 4K. However, I don't like when they put the Blu-ray disc on top of another disc. I mean, if you got in the 4K, I guess they said, hey, no one's really gonna use this Blu-ray if you have the 4K. But hey, whatever. They should do it like one of the pages. But did you think this looked great?
No, actually, going back to it and watching the 4K, I gotta say, for Christopher Nolan and 4K technology, I would put him on a pedestal. Like, as far as like you've seen Tenet and Inception and Interstellar on 4K, you would think Batman Begins must have an equally good 4K.
Well,
and I'm disappointed to say.
Do you think he was kind of limited to
the technology?
The technology, because this is an old movie.
Yeah, this is 2005, and my guess is yes. Actually, if you look up the budget, it is actually not a very high budget that he would be getting in his next few movies, because in 2005, this is coming off of Batman and Robin, and they didn't want to give this movie all that much money, so I'm going to assume that is what the problem is, because it's really not a great looking 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah, I watched it on my OLED for the first time last night with my Sonos setup, and it doesn't even have an Atmos track. It's got Dolby and DTS HD master audio, but it doesn't have an Atmos track, which I would have loved to have, especially for The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. But the picture wasn't terrible. The blacks are nice, and I don't really have too many complaints about the picture. It's a little dated, you know. It's not. The Dark Knight, I still think, is one of the best looking Blu-rays of all time, let alone the 4K.
Yeah, when The Dark Knight first came out, I remember it was a huge deal. That was the reference. Remember the purple string you could see? That was made such a
Joker's coat. Yep,
yeah, it was made such a huge note of that. And I'm guessing that's why the Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises gets more attention, because again, it feels like Batman Begins on its 4K just kind of got.
But again, it's
not bad though.
It's a very dark. There's a lot of dark scenes. I actually really love his suit in this movie. It's just matte black, and his eyes are. I really like the Batman Begins suit. I think it looks awesome. I just love how black it is, and it looked great on the OLED TV. You know, it's the visuals weren't terrible. Again, it's not the Dark Knight. It's not the best. It's not reference quality. It's not terrible, but the audio is where it took a hit for me. The second half of the movie, it picks up. It doesn't sound terrible, but I would have loved a Dolby soundtrack and a Dolby Atmos, and we didn't get it for some reason. And I'm really surprised with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a WB thing. I don't know. They would probably have to go back and like completely go over the film and fix all the issues. And I don't think they wanted to do that for this movie. Like I said, it's probably the least popular, which is unfortunate the trilogy.
I like it better than Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
sure.
Mean, I like it more than the Dark Knight, but I know I'm the minority in that, and you know, I get it, but you know, as far as like, I would definitely like it if down the line they went over and rescanned this 4K and made the blacks a little bit darker. You know, the color scheme is great with that like burnt orange color that they have like throughout the entire movie. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like each movie kind of like has their own kind of theme, and I felt like that this movie, that burnt orange is kind of the theme of it, and it really does pop. But I just felt like with the 4K technology and the fact that it's Christopher Nolan,
right,
I expect more.
The audio was the big thing for me. I actually, while watching it, I kept going into the app on my the Sonos app, and just checking to make sure my settings didn't get reset to default or something, just because it sounded off to me. You know, it's definitely going to be better than the Blu-ray copy because you're getting upgraded visuals. So don't write it off for that. But I just, something with the audio wasn't quite right to me.
It did sound good in the very famous scene where the cars were when he's jumping the Batmobile on the roofs. Like,
it was plenty loud.
Yeah, it definitely raised correctly.
I found the issue with the rears, although, like particularly the scene when before he's Batman, when he's training with Ra's and the
League of Shadows.
That right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he's training with them, and Liam Neeson is walking around behind him. I heard it in my rear speakers. So there was that, but other than that, like I found that the rears were kind of underutilized with the track on this.
Yep. So hopefully this isn't the final 4K release of Batman Begins. I would definitely like another version, but if you are going to seek out this movie, this is still the best way to see it. Mm-hmm. I would still give it a solid 7 out of 10. As far as a 4K Blu-ray release. Matt, what about you?
I'm going to go 6 out of 10 just because I really think they phoned in the audio.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. It's a damper on what is an already great movie, so, you know, please still seek it out. Again, HBO Max, 4K releases, plenty of Blu-ray.
Max.
Yeah, well,
physical forever, baby.
Yeah, that's where we want you to go, but we know money is an issue, so if you have to see it on if you have to see Batman Begins on HBO Max, don't feel too bad, but
Speaking of money, this set, look it up on Best Buy or Amazon. This set is usually floats around the $50 mark.
Yeah, it's
and $50 for all 3 of these movies on 4K. I mean,
yeah, even if that's not the highest of quality, trust me, The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises makes up for it, and they're still great films. That's the best way to see it. So,
yeah.
As always, guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and you tell all your friends. Good morning, guys. Just wanted to pop in quick to give you your digital code giveaway question, and this week's is simple. Who is your favorite Batman? And if you want to, tell us why he's your favorite Batman in the comments section below. All you have to do is tell us who your favorite Batman is, and you're entered in our digital code giveaway. And this week's code is Escape from LA. If you saw yesterday's video, you could find out what I thought of it. But if you want to enter to win the digital code, all you gotta do is answer that question and come back to Monday's video to find out if you're the lucky winner. And remember, guys, we do this every week, so make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends.